So Jennifer, with your experience as being an FBI agent for decades, I have to ask you this question, get your thoughts on this as a former employee of the FBI. What are your thoughts on Kash Patel? There's a lot of people that have concerns. I'm one of them. This is a guy, right, who's talked about Q. He's a conspirator. He said some crazy things just about going after members of the media that aren't willing to admit that Joe Biden, or that Donald Trump somehow won the 2020 election. I mean, in so many interviews, he said so many Looney Tune crazy things. So I guess two questions. Number one is, do you think he's qualified to be leading the FBI, an organization that you worked for many years? And number two, besides qualifications or lack thereof, do you think this is just a crazy pick? I just want to get your thoughts on this.
So I have a lot of thoughts on Kash Patel. First of all, this is no surprise. And I say that because his name has been in the ring. I actually thought he would be selected, and I thought he fit better, if you will, as a CIA director, not an FBI director, because the FBI is so heavily focused on law enforcement aspects. Now, really, we have two sides of the house. The other side is foreign counterintelligence, and everything that happens in the spy world in our nation is the FBI. CIA handles those cases abroad. Yes, they work hand in hand, but if it's happening here, it's the FBI doing it. So it's, being in for, and I want to say 25 years, 28 years as a federal agent, 25 in the Bureau, I worked under 6 different directors. Now, 2 were interim, but 4 were full-time, considered full-time, or, appointed directors. And as an agent, you're always so concerned. What is this going to mean? And I will say that current FBI agents, retired FBI agents, at least that I associate with and know and speak with, have been very concerned about the FBI, particularly being politicized at the headquarters level. None of us ever worry about the fiefdoms, we call them, the field offices. Those field offices are run by special agents in charge, and special agents in charge are basically all powerful within that territory. Do they have to answer to the FBI director? Yes, but pretty much they are in charge of their area, if this makes sense. So, down from there is an ASAC, a supervisor, and then the street agent. The street agent is the bread and butter of this organization. They are the ones doing the cases. They're not being micromanaged, and they are putting these cases together. Those are good folks. They just are. They are not in this whole political thought process. To be a good agent, you must be apolitical. You can't be on either side. We are strictly finders of fact.
Isn't that the key? Isn't that the key, Jennifer, what you just said? And I don't believe Kash Patel is that guy. I don't know what your feelings are, but I think he's loyal to Donald Trump. He's not loyal to the badge. He wouldn't be loyal to the FBI or to the American people. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, we've seen some statements made, that are concerning. One of the statements he made was if he were made director, which now he has been or will be, it'll take place in January, he was going to shut down the J. Edgar Hoover building. That's right. I'm just saying a quote.
Crazy.
I think it had to be tongue in cheek, because I know there's 7,300 agents and support personnel at headquarters. The cases that keep our country safe run out of there. I was a supervisor at the Weapons of Mass Destruction in the Counter-Nuclear Proliferation Unit. And I can tell you, you cannot shut down headquarters.
Right.
To his point, it's way too top heavy. There are way too many people there, in my opinion. When you have 8 layers, and that's about where it's at. In some place, it's ridiculous. You have a guy supervising 2 people. It's ridiculous. They need to clear out a lot of the agent staff and get them in the field where all the cases are essentially worked. But you can't just shut down headquarters. It would absolutely cut at the fabric of our safety.
So I agree again with what you just said. It was probably tongue in cheek. But, Donald Trump, not to get political here, but I guess in this moment I will. Donald Trump says a lot of things that are tongue in cheek also, but he's also going to be the leader of the free world again. And you shouldn't be saying things tongue in cheek. If Kash Patel is going to be the FBI director, what's going to stop him from saying more tongue in cheek things as the FBI director? You can't say things like that because people take it seriously. Same thing with the presidency. So moving forward, that's my biggest concern, that they'll continue to make statements like that. I wanted to ask you this before I let you go, Jennifer, because there have been a lot of attacks on the FBI and our justice system in general, particularly over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. You've heard the two-tier justice system. It's only working on one side of the aisle. Constant statements. And I, for one, and I know you would agree, there are a lot of really good people that work within the FBI, people that are apolitical, that do their job, that risk their life, people like you who served there in the FBI for years. Does that offend you when you have somebody like a Donald Trump or a Kash Patel or anybody for that matter that says it's a two-tier justice system? The attacks on our judges, the attacks on jurors, the attacks on the FBI.
What offends me is the fact that within the past I retired in 2016 and it was going down the wrong road. When I was in, you couldn't have a political sign in your yard. You couldn't do anything, say or do anything that was political in nature. Why? At the end of the day, whether my president was Clinton or whether it was Reagan or whether it was Bush, it didn't matter. I was hired to find facts and not be swayed by politics. And in addition, you can't look at a person and make them a subject and find facts to fit a crime.
Right.
How it's done correctly is the crime is being committed or has been committed, and then you fact find to figure out who's responsible. When that gets to be the inverse, that galls me. And so I can only hope. I think we all have to give Kash Patel a chance. That's how I am. I give everyone a chance, no matter what rhetorics come out of their mouth, and see what happens. But I surely understand your concern.